that first showing on Clubhouse, it just shows, as Fabian said, the gulf between these two teams, or how it appears, and so I think it's going to be a very tough map for them to get a lot on. We do see a couple of players, Deadshot just dropping out there. I think it was only Deadshot. Bibu just confirming there's been a crash in the text. So what we'll usually do is we'll finish the banning phase. There's no reason not to, and then we'll get Deadshot back in before things kick off for real. But yeah, I think, did you see any way, Des, that ITB really keep themselves in this on Consulate?
The truth is, it's like I said earlier on, it's a new map, and I think even though some teams still have preferences of not wanting to play it, it doesn't necessarily mean that a map has been figured out and teams know the best way to play it. So although Wolves have come in here going, okay, cool, like, let's go-to map for us, like, we want to pick it, we feel confident on it, it doesn't necessarily mean they are the best team on this map or that they are unbeatable on this map, right? So what I love about new maps, and it's why I'm enjoying seeing like Nighthaven every time it gets picked, or Consulate, for example, is there's still so much volatility on it. Sure, it's still got its roots in old school Consulate that many teams will be comfortable with, but so many things have changed here that I just think there is every opportunity for a team that people don't look at and say, yeah, you can win this map, to actually upset and do the unthinkable. Well, not really unthinkable, as I've said. Have the opportunity to upset and actually win the map away. So I wouldn't write them off yet. Give them a little bit of time. Let them cook, and we'll see how things go on their defensive side of this map.
Right then, Wolves are going to kick off on the attack to begin with. They're going to be attacking the top floor. Nothing too wild on the side of their... Ooh, I was just going to say nothing too wild on the side of their picks. We do have the Amaru come in. We don't have a Ying, though. The Ying would always make me then look towards a potential fast window plant coming in from the Amaru. The nades on Bibu or Mowgli you would use to clear out certain positions underneath, behind the desk, for example, in console office. And then you could look at zipping in through the window, although the gridlock is an alternative for the Ying. You get, that's why the floor's been opened up, but it might not be enough if they can get that cleared underneath. You nade out behind the desk, get some of those track stingers in and around where you would swing past half wall. There is an opportunity to potentially Amaru in through that window and get the diffuser down. There is also the other window on the top right of your screen, just down at the bottom near connector, or what used to be connector, and you can get yourself in there and plant behind that screen in meeting as well. So just that one there. Thank you very much. So two options there for the Amaru potential.
It's over there.
It's over there.
On my dead body.
To be fair, we're in such synergy with the observers by this point. They know exactly where we're going.
We have got easy for this map. We had Pietro on our last one, Red Like, and now we have Mr. Easy with us. It makes our life so much easier.
He certainly does. Certainly does.
I love Easy.
Deadshot then.
Parker kidnapped him away.
Deadshot going to be on the drones. Just getting that info about defender location for the time being. I think they're going to be checking underneath, see as well if there's anybody that's going to need clearing out. Ooh, the Rotero I thought was just going to sneak through and clear out that Kiba barricade, but will not be able to, as the Azami of Azza is too alive and alert. P4 is ready to go out. Go the track stingers. This could be it. Straight into sight. Oh, shut down though. ITB are ready for it. One kill comes in, but 4v3 Nitro goes out. Doesn't find its mark. It's an absolute brawl inside a site, but Noah shuts down Shinka. It's all gone wrong for Wolves.
Shinka was just dying to get out of dodge there, wanted to get away from the danger, but ultimately just ran straight into the sightline. A very safe sightline as well for one of the remaining defenders. And yep, even with 75 seconds on the clock, feels like a, dare I say, a big ass for Deadshot and Bibu. They could do this, Tim.
They certainly can. They've shown that capability on Clubhouse. Azza's going to take a lot of damage there, but it's going to have to start with a couple of kills. That much is for sure. The couple out towards Spiral is going to be the problem for Deadshot. Certainly not ready to move here. The full flash is going to make it difficult for them to challenge. He gets hit from meeting. There's absolutely nowhere for him to go. Completely surrounded. Bibu gets one onto Yonka, trying to move in towards site, but again, just very locked down here. I like this from ITB. It's very, very well organised. They're not moving, they're not over-peaking, they're not over-aggressing. They're just letting Wolves play into their lines of sight, and that's how they're going to win this round.
And that's exactly it. It's the patience of not trying to give them any chance of you swinging and trying to be too aggressive and just giving them way back into the round. Just let things time out here at the very least, or just find someone that when he walks into the wrong angle, they are guaranteed to get the kill. And sure enough, the two-way spray there to make sure that one's finished out. So nice intent is what I will say coming out from Wolves there, but ITB dealt with it extremely well.
They certainly did. I think Wolves maybe... I think they'll maybe take a step back from that. I think the Amaru play sometimes is a little bit of a cheese play, especially so early in the round. They weren't really prepared for it, and I'm not sure what the aim was too much. It was obviously, you know, you can get into meeting there safely. If they get the kill on the guy half wall, then maybe it gives them an opportunity to take control of console. But other than that, you're not really in a position to put a diffuser down or anything. In all honesty, with an Amaru play, I'd prefer the more direct, just clear underneath and get in through the console window and try and plant on the window or something. So yeah, I think Wolves will probably take a backward step from that one. They've rolled the dice. It's not worked. ITB have stood up very well to that. They were prepared for it, which I'm glad to see. And so that's going to move us down to basement. We've got the Mozzie of Azza all the way up on the top floor though, so it's going to have to be a full map clearance from Wolves.
Which I don't hate. We spoke about this a little bit on the last map and talked about in Clubhouse how Wolves really were using the full extent of the map and ITB weren't really doing the same. Here at least they're looking to make amendments to past mistakes here and actually get out of the room and keep Wolves busy. What I'm interested in actually is the placement of these mirrors as well. I think from Kendrew, we saw them go down both inside a kitchen, one facing in towards garage and one up construction on the south side of the bottom floor. What we've seen the team in Japan actually do is place it inside a storage, which is the room out towards the east of that kind of construction hallway, looking in towards archives and server side. And teams just get really pinned back, looking in towards electric, out towards the stairway on that side of the map. Whereas here, it's a little more defensive, much more tucked in towards the site. And I just worry that it leaves Spiral Stairs and Banana just a little bit too easy for the attackers to work their way down once they get some initial control.
Azza just very conscious of any potential push from Skylight. Keeps his eye on it before moving himself down. Definitely something that Wolves need to deal with. Need to get him locked down. Make sure that they're aware of his position. We're going to have Deadshot looking to move down the stairs, just clearing the barbed wire. I don't think there's anybody close enough realistically to hear that. Maybe the man on the left. But the kill is going to come in from P4, so Deadshot's able to move confidently through. That was actually really well played as a team. Deadshot makes noise on the stairs, so the attention goes towards the stairs. P4 sneaks down and gets the kill. Absolutely fantastic start.
And this is what I was a little bit worried about, right? That kitchen mirror window, the one on the east, was actually quite defensively placed, like way back. So all of the east side of this bottom floor is given away. You lose control of lockers, really. There's lots of things that can work against you here. So they've got to be super careful on where this pressure starts to come from. Sure enough.
Just trying to move around, like you say, just trying to get a grasp on exactly where that pressure is coming from. And it feels at the minute like Wolves are really circling. They managed to find another 5 versus 3 now. They've got the lockdown on the hatch above. They're aware that there's somebody playing up there. Kanto is going to take some damage as well, down to half health, along with Kendrew. But Azza does manage to find one with his nitro before taking a ton of damage. Kendrew keeps fighting 3v3, and ITB might just be able to do this with P4 down, but that now leaves us in a 3v1 as Deadshot and BB managed to lock in a couple of quick kills. It's all up to Kanto. There was a second where you thought it might line up for him, but no, ITB, no such joy, and that's going to be Wolves 1-1.
This is kind of what I was speaking about, right? I said it twice during that round, is that east side of the map and lockers is just left completely bare. You've really only got control of the kitchen and garage itself, and sure, you deny archive stairs, people can't come marching down there, but everything else is then left to the attackers to take full control of. It's far easier to get your way down main stairs and take control of the east side of that bottom floor than it ever used to be, and that's exactly what we saw the attackers using to full effect there. Really well played by Wolves to spot the gap in the defense, and ITB, I don't want to sit here and say, oh, you know, they've clearly never sat and looked at a strat for Consulate. Maybe they haven't, but the way it looked there, they just lacked that total consideration for locker side and archive side that made it all too easy for Wolves. So some correction needed next time we go downstairs. If we go downstairs.
If we go downstairs. We're going to see Piano for the time being, I would imagine. Let's say, for argument's sake, that RTB win this. That's where the choice of going downstairs would potentially come in again. They'd have console offers available, so they may go back up to the top floor. They could then choose the split side, which is just round about where Kendra is playing at the minute, and then going to be underneath as well in archives. Very similar to how it used to be. So we might well see, we've seen that played once or twice in pro play so far. It might might be something that ITB choose to bring out here. I think it will probably depend on how the next round or two goes. If Wolves start picking up attacks and chaining them together, then I think they'll probably stick with the more default sides.
Kendrick classic, of course. I feel like I've seen him play this so many times over the years. And here he is, rocking it out inside the basement, just feeding that information, as you saw, already spotting out 2 of the attackers, which should give at least a decent idea of where a hefty part of the attacking team or the attacking force is going to approach the building from, where they're going to try to enter, for example, and more than anything else, providing support to those players that are around him, just so they know where it is they should be looking and getting ready for an entry engagement.
Deadshot sending in the clutch drone. Looking for information. He'll take any electronics
I still hate that
as
name,
he
by
goes.
the way.
Sorry?
Clutch. It's just a horrible word.
We've had this discussion before. I
know,
agree
every
with
time
you.
I hear it, it still bothers me. It's why I don't say it. It's why I say Brava Drone.
I
It's
can
like you
use
and
Brava
bananas.
Drone.
Like
if you hadn't have
clutch.
told me that, I'd have used Brava Drone, but now...
Well, no, because you've used Clutch Drone twice tonight, and it's already bothered me twice.
And I'm going to continue to use it more.
Please don't, Tim. That's
so
not you as a person.
The clutch drone has taken
Stop
a number
it.
of cameras there. So the thing with the cameras is it's not just about denying utility to the defenders. It's that direct swing of utility. If the defenders don't notice it, not only have they lost it, but you can use it as well and gain that information from the cameras. But there wasn't enough information to keep P4 alive there, as Azza manages to find a nice headshot across the top floor onto him. Just blocks off with the keeper barricade as well, forcing Bibu to rethink his strategy. But he gets a freebie onto Noah instead. 4 versus 4. Kanto takes down Deadshot. And again, this is turning into a bloodbath, but it's Azza going big with a triple on the top floor.
That's more of what we needed to see. Azza so quiet on the last map, but pops off when his team need it most. Joined by Kanto on that top floor and just completely slaughter Wolves as they try and seemingly navigate their way through the maze that is top floor Consulate sometimes.
This is the thing with Consulate. It's one of the, one of the things that I've said before when we spoke about it. I think it was in the Japan League that we saw Consulate played. It is just a very, very tight map made of lots of small little rooms. There are so many corners to check, so many tight little lines of sight. It inevitably gives an advantage to the defenders to play in that sort of a position and get a kill to the right, to the left, behind that, and just chain them together one after another as players come in and try to engage them at close range.
It's like going into like a haunted house, something like the other mirror mazes that you get at some fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Just spinning from door to door, and there's a new face at every single one. Absolute madness. But back on towards the whole Clutch thing. It's because it reminds me of the word moist, I think. I don't know why, but it just sounds horrible. Those two words both feel uncomfortable. Kludge. Like, that's sludge and just...
How do you feel about fudge?
Fudge I like, actually, because it reminds me of sweet things. I'm right with that.
The confectionery.
It's like kludge. It's the start of it. I don't know.
I am partial to a bit of fudge. I know we've already... we're very food heavy tonight. I must be hungry.
To be fair, between those series, I did literally get in my car, drive to Click and Collect fish and chip shop near me, bang in, and got a mini fish special.
I've got it. I might be the only Brit to not back fish and chips.
All right, so you've already gone really controversial with fruit. Let's not start on our national dish.
It's just
what do you get from the chippy when you go to the chippy?
sausage usually.
You're so boring. Right,
I'm not. That's my point.
Like a pie.
That's what fish and chips is.
Do you have
for
mushy
me.
peas?
There's just nothing to it.
Do you have mushy peas?
No,
Curry
I like
sauce?
a little bit of curry sauce, yeah. A little bit of curry
Next your
sauce.
time, you don't have salt and vinegar on your chips.
Just salt, no vinegar.
Honestly, you're worse than my missus. She's the same. What's this? At least she appreciates a pie. God.
I'm partial to a pie. Deadshot is going to get into admin, established now. Looking to challenge through onto meeting door. Shinka's in position to open up that meeting wall. It does cut the site in half. It's not really a point of access, really, but is able to just hold a long line of sight then. But he's going to need to wait for P4 to get through here. Will the drone survive? Yes, it will. Bandit battery taken down along with a ton of other utility as well. So that gives Shinka the opportunity to open up that meeting wall. And this is a much better attack of top floor from Wolves. They haven't, gone behind that sort of Cheesamaru in through the window. This is about getting themselves into positions and clearing ITB out.
Yeah, a lot of the team stacking out towards the east side of the map because I think on the other they've got a bunch of electrification down in the form of the Bandit from Noah. But it does give a bit of room for Wolves again to start moving in. And it's one thing I'm clocking about this is ITB seem pretty happy with knowing what areas of the map they want to fight in and hold and what areas they're happy to give up. The only problem is Wolves seem very happy taking that ground and punishing them for it. We saw it in the basement. Now we're seeing it here as well. Noah finally getting something back, but still a 4v3.
Just looking to take the peek on around the corner, knows that there's likely somebody in there. Can't find Shinka, even though it hits him an absolute ton of bullets. Has to dip away,
Wow.
but Kanto and Azza do the job elsewhere. Shinka somehow surviving to fight another day and wins the fight as well. No, it's B4. I thought that it was Shinka that had snuck his way in there, but Bibu gets another, and this swings back and forward like a seesaw. But ultimately, it's Wolves that are left riding high. They managed to take the round, level things up, and it's now 2-2.
Unbelievable. That was 5v4, then swung back to ITB side, then back over to Wolves again. A real back and forth round, and Wolves interestingly calling in a timeout here. They won the round. They're at 2-2. They'll be happy that on the attacking side of the map they sit at this point, I imagine, or clearly not, feel they can get more out of this half.
I feel like, you know, you've got to look at, I think, a new map. You've kind of got to look at it and think a 3-3 attack half is not a bad start, actually. You know, really, if you're going to be prepared on a new map, it's generally going to be on defense because, you know, those are the strategies that you can sit down and design. You can, you know, figure out how they're going to work. Whereas on the attack, you've kind of just got to react to whatever's in front of you. So if Wolves can get themselves another round, I think they've done all right here, and I think that may be, you know, part of the reason behind the timeout, but maybe they've just seen something along the way that they thought needed a little course correct. I don't know.
Maybe so, but either way, they're privy to that information. We are not. We are just the humble onlookers to see how this will transpire and what it will turn into in these last two rounds of the attacking half of Wolves. Again, a reminder, it is their map pick. They stomped ITB on ITB's map pick of Clubhouse 7 and 2. Skyscraper in the top right corner of your screen, as you can see, is our decider map if we need to get there, but it is a big if on it at the minute, as all things seem to be going towards Wolves to walk away with this map. Because, looking at it this way, when ITB got onto the attacking side, a map that you pretty much don't play, that you've banned away the majority of your game bans, unless it's been banned away by the other team, one that Wolves have deliberately picked to play into here, I just get the sense that on the attacking side it's going to be even harder for ITB, but it does open up avenues to do some crazy stuff and get a little bit cheesy in the same way that Wild were against M&M in a few of those rounds on the second map of Chalet.
Going to have the Capcan of Azza. Just again, Azza's played a lot of top floor. It's something that Wolves need to figure out. Got a big 3k up there, was able to turn around and get it won. So definitely if they're looking for that top floor control with the Ram, you would expect they're going to want to work from above. So definitely need to figure out a way of exactly how they're going to clear Azza out here. And I think the first and foremost is information as a drone goes in to try and find him.
Onwards we march. Very excited to see how the Ram gets used here as well. I mean, it should, I swear,
there you go.
If that was the Ram, I would have been like, are you serious? It's the Decavi going down. But Deadshot's in off the back of that drone, looking to march his way forwards, being very mindful of the Capcan. As they're going dangerously though, Mowgli's already down though in this spot. That's a dream start for ITB. 2 early kills. Could not ask for more.
Absolutely not. You know, that was the problem that I identified for Wolves and said they need to deal with Azza on the top floor. They need a plan. And I'm not saying they didn't have one, but it certainly didn't work. Azza was able to do some great work there, get himself a couple of kills. He's dropped away. There's still time being wasted. He's now supporting Kendrew on the mid floor, and there's no rush now. The ITB defenders don't need to dive back to site. They can basically keep themselves where they are because they know at an absolute maximum there's going to be 3 attackers pushing onto site, so they can just keep 2 down there and then let everybody else play where they want to play.
The control is okay, but what are they gearing up for here? This feels like, I don't want to say a rush, but feels like they want to get nice and aggressive, Tim. Here we go, the rush is in. They've dropped down. Are they aware about the player behind them to the right? No, they're not. That's one to Noah. Almost a second, but Yonka swings off the back of it as well. Absolutely crushed there, and this is my worry. Those rushes, you haven't got the drones in place. You haven't checked every single little hidey hole on this map. And my God, there are so many of them. They will punish you for it. Shinka left all alone by himself. 0 and 4. Not yet found a kill on this map. And I can't imagine that's going to change. Staring down the barrel of 4 enemy players all looking for your blood.
Yeah, I think Wolves just sort of at the 3 versus 5 ran out of ideas a little bit. They knew that they had to just roll the dice, see what happened. They didn't come up with the double 6 they were looking for. Instead, they found themselves 1 versus 4. Shinka lurking around, just trying to get things going. If he can find 1 or 2 maybe as freebies, then who knows? But now they know where he is. It's going to get very, very difficult. 25 seconds, pressure mounting, kill comes in, Kanto finishes it off, and that's going to be ITB taking round 5. It puts them 3-2 up on the scoreboard. Wolves are going to be looking to level things up, and then I'm sure they'll carry some confidence into that defensive half. But ITB, they are flying at the minute, doing really well. Azza with another good round up on top floor, and we said, you know, spoke about it coming into this game. If they can get that little bit more out of Azza, out of Yonker, Azza, you know, make it more of a team effort, a team sort of pulling together, it's going to make it much more difficult for Wolves, and that is definitely what we are seeing.
All right, again, I'll always come back to my point about that second half. I am very nervous about ITB's attacks on this map, but I will reserve judgment until we've seen a couple of them, or maybe we've seen one. Time will tell. We'll see how bad the first one goes, or potentially how well it goes. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised, and that'll be quite nice. On this top floor we go, then we saw this as that opening round earlier on where Wolves did struggle a little bit, should we say. They had to try and force their way through. ITB sat behind C4s and really tried to make life hell, even with a gridlock coming in on the attacking side, and often just found themselves running into angles being held by ITB, with Wolves having basically zero awareness that ITB was sat there. Again, giving a lean to what we spoke about earlier, and that this being a new map does mean teams won't be fully au fait with all the different angles that you can play and where defenders might find themselves planted.
It's going to be that top floor again as we head into the action phase. We've got caught out with nitros already, have Wolves. Need to be careful that they're not giving away free deaths again. Noah has got it ripped and ready. Can be a good tactic, good technique for using those nitros, one you can try at home. If you know that you're going to use it in a particular position, like this, keep it in hand.
Oh, never mind. Anticlimactic.
You've got to be able to throw it through the hole. That's the second thing. The reason I was going down, get it ripped and ready, because then they don't hear the audio cue. You know, quite often players will adjust their movement based on the audio cue of a nitro being ripped. If you've already got it in hand, they don't see it coming. But you've got to make it through the hole. The opening kill comes in. It's going to be Kendrew managing to get the kill on the basis that it is the Vulcan canister that does the job. And it is going to be Mowgli that goes down to begin with. Noah finds Deadshot, and it's starting to fall apart for Wolves on attack.
It's just so hard on that initial push through up on that top floor. You can see the angles they were dug into. The Azami certainly isn't making things any easier. And now we're at a spot where the only thing that can really left that can help clear those out is going to be those Habaneret's Kairos at range. Obviously, Sledge can do the same. You can bash them down, whatever it might be. But just the frustration of trying to dance around Az's holding place is so frustrating that Wolves haven't even managed to get really through step 1 of this map yet.
BB just moving across quietly. Ping comes out, telling the location of Kendrew. Just sees the feet, can't take the shots, and is just going to get back onto the drones. Wolves certainly taking their foot off the gas at the minute, but ITB have been impressive the last couple of rounds. You know, this is what we wanted to see from them more. As you say, we have to reserve judgment until we see them on the attack realistically. But let's look at it. If they can get a 4-2 half on the defense, they don't even need to be amazing on the attack to take it to overtime. We'll have a look and see who will be starting where. I'm not, wishing it upon them already. ITB might have it locked up by then, because they are certainly the better team at the minute here on Consulate, heading in towards the second half.
They're looking very resolute in their defence, right? Very steadfast, where they don't really look too phased by what Wolves are throwing at them. Admittedly, it's lacking a little bit of bite on the Wolves attacking side. I mean, even here, look, we're basically forced right back to where we started things out inside of admin. An electrified wall still stays intact. Chinka in with his first kill of the map. Not a bad one to find, as Azza has been an absolute terror in so many of these rounds. But it's not without cost, as Yonka elsewhere has found a kill. Being beamed at long range, finds Kanto, not bad. But now he's got even more to do. Flashes in through the hole, comes around on the swing. Knows there's one in the back corner, but Kendrew finds his man. ITB, 4-2 in this first half, Tim.
Yeah, good first half from ITB. I'm sure they're going to be, you know, much happier than the siege that they were playing on Clubhouse. Wolves just seem to be a cut above in reality on the first map, but this one seems now really competitive. Wolves certainly haven't just been winning gunfights. That's the one thing for me. Like, Wolves were just sort of almost winning, you know, the majority of things on Clubhouse, no matter which way it was going. But here, it's much more competitive. Azza's having a great game so far, and if that continues on the attack, Wolves could really get put backs to the wall here. It's 4-2. If ITB can win this first attack on top floor, it could be decisive.
This for me really is judgment, not even judgment day, it's judgment round, right? How well they attack this site, and maybe the next round, if this one turns out to be a little bit cheesy or a bit of a write-off, is really going to dictate how the rest of this game goes. I've already said that I'm a little bit concerned you're coming into a map here that you, as far as we can tell, they don't really play it. They've banned it away in the majority of their games. It's a map that Wolves are coming to picking, which means they've likely come armed with a bunch of strats and ideas on how to hold it really successfully and things that ITB simply won't be ready for. This could be a real stomp of a second half, but ITB could equally very well surprise me. So I'm really excited to see how this part plays out.
Would you say that you're on the edge of your seat, Des?
Right now, actually, on my backside is I'm sat back in my chair, mate. I'm really cozy, actually.
I'm glad.
I need like a thick bathrobe and a pipe, and then I'll be like philosopher of siege at this point. Like, oh yes, ITB coming into a map they didn't pick is very interesting.
Azza gets the drone out then on the Ana. Perfect operator for Azza at the minute. Doing very well so far. 8 and 3. Get him in, get him some more kills. And I don't think that Wolves are going to be able to put the brakes on him if he starts finding his feet here on attack. Mowgli is aggressively out into admin at the minute. Needs to be careful because there is attention coming in from Kanto on the window. Does dip himself away. Usually you'd see people playing more in this position. Doki particularly had a very good performance here when playing on console for G2, so definitely a power position, and Mowgli needs to keep hold of that.
And this is where Azza's been sat for the majority of the rounds. In that last round, actually, they basically kept Wolves pinned inside of admin because he was playing in this. Some teams call it long, others call them the one that goes out towards the west from its short. But playing inside of long, playing around Soda, dancing up and down, making use of the keeper barriers to give you a little bit more defensive positioning, a little bit more of a stronghold to play inside of. And from there, you just command so much presence over the stairs down towards Visa, in towards Copy. Break is really hard to break into itself. You're just in such a good position. As I say that, obviously he gets gunned down by Azza because he's getting a little bit cocky here and trying to take on someone who's nearly hitting double digits.
The thing is, that is dealing with a difficult position very, very well. You know, our questions coming into this was, how is RTB's attack going to look here on Consulate? Well, that first kill tells me it's looking good because they had a plan to deal with that area. They've executed the plan well. They've got the kill. It gives them the advantage. Now, can they continue forward from their dead shot? He manages to take down Kanto. That's the sledge gone. And potentially, I think at least one of the nades had been used. Yes, both of them have been used. So not too much of a loss of utility. Azza still with 2 in hand to clear out the shield, for example. Bibu also, I believe, has a bulletproof camera above his head. So Mowgli could be feeding information into him.
Very, very cheeky here with P4 just trying to swing by and help out his teammate from inside a meeting. This is a real hard spot to play because you've got up towards Soda, you've got the Warden sat behind a shield, no doubt with ADS is near him. He's got a jammer on him as well. They're just ready. You've got someone ready to swing from meeting as well. It's again that layers of an onion thing that Azza is disposable here. Mowgli is disposable. He's the kind of free-flowing, take early gunfights, try and get an entry. But this dug-in layer, this trench that sits behind Mowgli is so hard to break apart.
They've just got no answer to Bibu now. There you go. He can just peek out. He's got his job done. There's 7 seconds left to go. You know, you look at it and you think, well, yeah, they got the kill onto him, but Azza has no choice but to stick this. There's somebody going to peek around this corner any second. There you go. And that's round. I love Bibu's position there. As I say, it wasn't that clear from, you know, seeing from his point of view, but I believe that there was actually a bulletproof camera above his head on the wall, and you could see the red pings coming out, and there's no nades, there's a shield, there's a bulletproof, and I've never really seen that combination too much before, and what a perfect use of it that was.
And this is exactly what I was talking about, right? Wolves picking this map are coming in this with strats at the ready, and this is the kind of stuff that ITB are going to have to be flexible to deal with. I didn't think they'd come in with loads of ideas on how to respond to, you know, at the end of the day, no one's really seen too much on this map is the problem. So teams are still going to have so many new and fresh ideas, and they will do. For probably 12 to 18 months, you'll always see new things coming out. I'll never forget, and you and I had a good chat about this, actually on Meepy's stream once, back when he used to stream for a while. I think he was like, I've been playing this game now for years, and I've just found a new angle on Clubhouse I didn't know existed before. There are always new things to learn, and when a map comes in fresh, like Consulate has, teams will have different takes, different ideas. Some things will work, some things won't. But again, the battle then comes down to teams like ITB, who we assume haven't played it a whole ton, are going to have to deal with things on the fly. And my God, is it going to be frustrating. It's actually why I really like here that Kendrew's got onto the Monty. As we always see a Monty, teams sometimes fall back onto this when it's kind of a, things aren't going so well. You've got to bring a little bit of order and sense to the game. Bring along a Monty. He's your tip of the spear. He's the one making sure that you can feed information to your team safely. And so here, I think that actually maybe this is a really good setup coming out from ITB. Also very curious to see, though, how they're going to make use of the RAM. There's your answer. It's going to destroy the
There's your answer to begin with. Uses a soft breach. Worth remembering for everybody at home. It's not just about ripping up floors. It will go through utility. It will go through soft walls. It can be used in many different ways. Kendrew is going to be opening up the wall through into archives with the hard breach. Any second now. There we go. Just gets that placed. That's going to provide a little bit of info. Ooh, the impact nade just a little bit too late there. Does allow the breach to be opened up on the front side. So again, a good start from ITB. They had that last time. The question is, do they then have the answer, not just to part 1, but to part 2, part 3?
A lot of noise going in, which means everyone else can go charging on forwards. And Kendrew here in a good spot as well, making use of the barricade to get rid of the Fenrir gadget and keep on marching forwards. We spoke about this in the first half, about how much control is given out towards this admin side, towards server side, sorry. And it does give the defenders a lot of space to work with here. They've been really quick so far, ITB. I'll give that to them. 60 seconds in, and they've got an absolute ton done so far.
Yeah, they really have. Wolves need a plan to deal with this Monty. Azza's going to take down Shinka. His great game continues. And ITB certainly need more of that. Jonka's going to move downstairs to join the attack, get himself behind Kendrew, just pushing through that similar path. Takes a lot of damage there, though, from inside a side. Mowgli does take some in return, continues the fight. Bibu just signalling that he's got a Monty to deal with. He believes that there's one at the bottom of yellow stairs, but I'm not sure that's actually the case. P4 misses. No! He goes for the ram on the Monty, but misses, and Kanto's there to cut him down. Azza with a second in the round, and this could be a first successful attack for ITB.
Casual as all hell, and as the numbers dwindle, it means the Monty only gets ever stronger. 2 left on the side of walls and 4 still bearing down. What a great shot coming on through. Sees his man at range, and if Deadshot had the bullets there, that could have been another couple of quick kills coming out of seemingly nowhere. Now, we know that the Monty's been nerfed a little bit here, but I'm still worrying that he's going to be able to get anything done against 3 on the other side. Sees one at range, can't connect onto his man. Still more swings coming on through. Both put dangerously low. Deadshot on about 15 HP, being stared at by that Monty means that this round is all but done.
Jonker it is that picks up that final kill, and that is going to be a successful attack for ITB. 5-3 on the scoreboard, and Wolves are starting to run out of options, out of opportunities. Still plenty of siege to be played in this one, but every time ITB manage to grab a round like that, it inches them closer to map 3. They are going to take the tactical timeout, but that was a nice attack from them.
It was. And okay, fair point to sit and breathe, I think, as well, because okay, it came together, but they've already been stung once. That last round, they sort of figured things out. They got away with that couple of kills in the mid-round, which really gave them the control they were after. And I liked it. Again, I said that the Monty coming along, I think, was a really good idea. Just to give you a front to really stand behind and use to feed information. It was a great, beautiful little sidestep out of Kendra as well to dodge the Oryx. Things could have gone real bad if they got the Monty down and finished him off. And for a sense, I thought the Oryx as well, maybe not with the best decision-making, opted to try and run away rather than holding the ADS behind the Monty, where surely there will be a player ready to swing not too long after. But at that point, you're arguing over little small differences. We're going to head down to servers and Tellus Tim and play that split site.
Ooh, I love to see these because, you know, it's generally the sites that we don't see too often. If you go in there, you've got a plan, but it feels like a bit of a roll of the dice for Wolves as well. They've had the opportunity of a bit of a discussion in between, and how are they going to hold on? Obviously, the sort of popular sort of two popular ways of holding this site was to have some verticals and have people underneath with nitros. I'm talking on the old consulate, but also to hold the top floor at the same time. As attackers, you would try to take top floor and then maybe get a plant in towers. You had to do it up on desks and stuff because you were terrified of nitros or shots from below. There is more of an option, I think, to sweep across the bottom floor this time as well for the attackers, just because it's a little bit more closed off. There's not as many long angles as there used to be. There's just a little bit more of an option to get into gunfights down there. So we'll see how ITB approach this one.
Absolutely. Always keen to see how it's approached. As you say, it's in so many over time. I think when we cast the Japanese League, it was just a straight sweep from garage side all the way across and just completely caught the other side off guard, to be honest with you. So plenty of opportunity if you can spot those holes in the defense to force your way through and really give the other side nothing to say about it. Same comp as well coming out for the side of ITB, just really now probably going to stick behind this Monty, which should force some changes out of the wall side. Things like the Legion being in there, a couple of C4s, smokes on the side as well. The Fenrir does help at blocking away the information the Monty can pass when he steps into a key location. So lots here that they can use to at least diminish the impact of Kendrew. But knowing how good Kendrew is on shield operators, it's going to be hard to completely take him out.
Mowgli just looking to clear out some utility, I'd imagine. Potentially just stop that hatch getting opened up. Takes a couple of pop shots, but it's only going to find the front of the Monty again. Mowgli taking some damage there as well. Mowgli been quiet so far. Obviously one of the players that we look to on the Wolves side of things to have a big impact in the game, but has been unable to so far, really. The Monty of Kendrew is going to start that slow marching, and we're going to have the hatch open eventually. The impact nade of the Legion will have done something, but we'll get there. We'll get there in the end. Two more get taken off, but still a couple of chances for Noah.
Still trying his best. We'll get there in the end, I swear.
Will we? These are the last two. That's it. It's not getting opened.
Okay, it's staying closed, and that's about that. And that's just for a hatch and the entryway to the building as well, let's not forget. That's what makes us even more frustrating and actually could work really well in the favour of walls. We still have Azza with two of the Selmas in back pocket. And Nate going skyward, I thought might catch his man, but no. They do have the Selmas to play with, but I imagine they've got to be committed elsewhere to try and make this push work.
Kanto just aware of any potential peak coming out, but like you say, the key phrase there, Des, is make it work. That's ITB. They're not able to use those first choices, and now they're finding themselves in bad positions. Kendrew, he's just having to push in through smoke. He gets shut down by P4 with the shotgun, and there's another flawless from Wolves. What a response, and they keep it within one. It's 5-4.
Just a good little bit of preparation coming in there. I think, again, they had so much anti-Monty utility on side to keep him at bay and just felt ready for it. They were there and ready to aggress at the bottom of those stairs is arguably the most important part. Whereas last time round, they gave everything over to the other side. So I like how we've seen Wolves adapt there just on the spin of the dime of the previous defense. Now we go up to that top floor for console and meeting. This is where I'm interested to see the reaction from ITB. We saw the Warden with the bulletproof behind him, the shield set down, the ADSs. He was impossible to move away. But ITB, now that they've seen it once, should at least have an idea on how to deal with it.
I would imagine that we will see similar again. As you say, the key is going to be in operators like Zofia being brought along by Yonka. We've got plenty of options now. 4 nades between Iana and Sledge. Ooh, the switch away, though. It's not going to be Zofia. We're going to have a rehost by the looks of things. But that's an interesting choice before that happened. I expected maybe to see the Zofia come along to help clear out that sort of utility if they did come up against it. We're just waiting for confirmation on that one.
In the Discord, boys, not being checked. Come on now.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice because the Zofia made perfect sense to me as an answer to dealing with that situation along with the nades. They didn't have enough nades last time, so you need something else, you know, that you can use as explosives to get down there and clear that shield out, clear the bulletproof out. But it just switched away at the last minute, so I'll be interested to see when we get back in what that attacking lineup actually lands on.
Yes, I mean, just as we had 8 seconds to go, we were looking at Iana, Sledge, Ace, Flores, and Thatcher as their go-to. So a good few nades in there with the Thatcher on side, I think is probably the most critical part of it, because you chuck that towards where the even the other side of the wall potentially as well. As soon as you get enough control, as soon as you've got control of copy, you can just EMP the other side of that wall. ADSs go offline. There is no camera. You step round with a nade, bounce off the wall, bam, job done.
Well, we'll have this short technical pause whilst we get, I think it was Deadshot who dropped out.
Yes.
So whilst we get Deadshot sorted and back in, it will just be a couple of minutes for the players to gather thoughts a little bit and for, maybe them to mull over exactly what has happened in previous rounds. And I think this maybe works in Wolves' favour at this point. I feel like, ITB maybe could have just done with, I know they lost the last round, but just keep that pace up, keep that momentum up. Don't give Wolves too much time to think about it, whereas I think a little bit of a break, a little bit of a pause is more likely to take the wind out of the sails of the attackers, if anything.
Absolutely. It's again, for me, pending on how this round plays out, because it will tell that narrative of the adaptation, how well they can deal with new things they're finding. I wouldn't say it's been like easy for Wolves either. Like clearly, ITB are in a spot where they're at 5-4. They've still made like Wolves work for basically every single step of this so far. Attack or defense, Wolves have got a real game on their hands to get this second map over, get the series done. Otherwise, Skyscraper becomes a little bit like, which way are we going to see this go?
Yeah, it certainly seems to become a little bit more of a roll of the dice. I still do lean towards Wolves at the minute. I think experience will maybe carry them through. But as I've said, you look at the side of ITB, Kanto, Kendrew, two of the most experienced players in the game. Yes, we've got Azza and Yonker who maybe, counter, I don't want to say counter that, but, they certainly don't have this, the same hours at the same level of competition necessarily. But, Kanto, Kendrew, they can handle that situation, they can assist in that situation, and so I don't think it's necessarily as clear cut as that. Wolves, I think, will want this done in 2. I don't think they really want to risk that final map.
Someone, there was a bit of a chat earlier in chat about how do you become a professional yapper? Because
professional yapper?
They referred to us as yapping. They were like, oh, these guys are yapping. And everyone was like, "Oh yeah, they do yap a lot." And I was like, "How do you become a professional yapper?"
It seems like quite a northern thing to say. That's right at home for me, to be fair.
No, I hear it quite a lot here in the Midlands as well, like a yappy dog.
Do you?
Yapping.
Yeah,
what are you yapping for, mate?
Yeah,
we say it all the time.
Okay, maybe it's just a British thing.
Maybe
it's not. Maybe it's global. Maybe we need
to find a southerner and ask them, do you say yap as well?
Yeah.
See how far it spreads. Has yap taken over the world, or is it just a regional thing here in the North and Midlands of the UK?
See, I've done this. I've done this a few times before for different things. I made a query about hedgehogs once, for example.
Hedgehogs.
Yeah, and whether they were like a worldwide, animal or not. Whether it was something that we just had in the UK,
they must be worldwide.
Or whether they were found. So, but I got quite a few DMs. I got like a DM from somebody in Croatia saying they have hedgehogs in Croatia. I think somebody in Brazil said
the hedgehogs just said, "You know what? Screw Croatia. We don't want to be there." Of course they're going to be in Croatia. It's mainland Europe.
No, just that. Well, you say that, but for example, we don't get lions in the UK, do we? So my point is that animals live in certain areas around the world. It just depends what suits them in terms of
just go to Norway and just find a
else.
lion in Norway, because it's just the UK that doesn't have lions. Yeah.
No, you're just backing my point up. It's down to climate, and it made sense to me at a point where I was talking about hedgehogs as if they were just like just a standard thing like anywhere, and then it occurred to me that maybe I don't know, different countries around the world maybe have them, maybe don't. So yeah, I got quite a few DMs on that one. Basically started building a map of where I've hedgehogs and where I don't.
Humans barely want to live in the UK, let alone hedgehogs and lions, mate. Let's be real. Hedgehogs.
Oh, dear me.
What a funny word that, in it, really, to give to a name to give to that animal. Who must have, did they see one in like a hedge and just say it was kind of like a hog, like a pig, let's call it a hedgehog? Or is it because it lives in the hedge so much that it's a hog, like we would say, and therefore it's a hedgehog? Like
that it's hogging the hedge?
Yeah, it's my hedge, just like you. And do the whole Shrek thing and say my swamp, please.
I'm not saying
Say
that.
It, please. It's my swamp.
Scottish.
Huh?
Shrek's Scottish.
You're from the north, mate. All the same thing.
It's a Scottish accent. It's not the same.
Yeah, but it's not the same, he says. Listen to yourself.
Give it a rest. Give it a rest, man.
Definitely. Give it a rest, man. It's definitely a hedgehog, I think, because it hogs the hedge.
Okay.
They look nothing like a pig. They're too cute.
I don't think they're really big enough to hog space. So
there's a lot of them though, and they're spiky. They're quite cold shouldered. They'll make you a cup of tea if you came around their house. They'd be like, no, stay away.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Deadshot seems to be back at his machine, so hopefully we'll be getting back in. I always look around the player cams to see if we've got any screens that we can see. We do have a little bit of Mowgli's screen, but it doesn't look like we're back in the waiting screen yet. So I think we should be probably a couple of minutes away. If Deadshot's back up and running, it looks like we're going to be getting back in very, very soon. I say that. And
for now, you've got to deal with these professional yappers until we're ready to go back.
This is it. You got to listen to these professional yappers. How do you become a professional? I like that. I might change my bio.
What professional yapper? What about waffler? Professional waffler.
We do a bit of waffling from time to time.
This is all waffling.
Sometimes it's necessary, Sometimes it's necessary. But then again, that's where some of our absolute classics have come from, Des. So,
the pots and the pans, mate. What a podcast that turned into at Mexico.
We've had some classics come out of this stuff.
I enjoy it, mate. Look.
It's all killer, no filler, It's,
good old, fantastic Sum 41 album, mate. One of my favourites.
You'll be glad to know that in our short 10-minute break between maps, between the first map and this one, I did actually make a tier list for fruit.
Oh, really?
It will be. It'll go live at some point. I will put it out there at some point. It is the ultimate fruit tier list.
I'm not going to lie, mate. I really feel like that needs to wait for the major.
What we could do is we could then follow up on it.
What, with iterations when you realise how incorrect you are?
Well, if that's what people think, then we could put it to the test. That's why I did it, you see, because then we can put it to the test.
Someone just said, "Bro, speaking Japanese." I like that.
Shall we get back into it?
Yeah, enough waffling, enough yapping. Let's get back into things and see if ITB can do what we spoke about before. And just as a catch-up to remind you, last time round, Wolves, they sat inside a long. They had someone playing Soda behind, a Warden playing behind a shield with a camera above the top. They had a mute jammer there. They had ADSs, and they were unshakable. There was nothing that ITB could do to get them out the way, despite killing off Mowgli, who was dancing around long, being a little bit more aggressive. So we'll keep a close eye on it and see exactly how things shape up. Imagine with the fact that we've got 3 bulletproofs on side, 1 more should go here inside a long. That is this lovely long room in the middle of your screen. Thank you, Easy.
Yeah, so it's up at the top near the vending machine on the metal shutters that you can see. There was, I'm 99% certain the bulletproof was placed there. The shield goes in front of it, just at the vending machine.
Of Japan. I love it so much.
Oh, dear. We've got the ADSs in place to stop any projectiles getting to the shield. We get the shield, and then finally, I'm pretty sure just behind Bibu, there we go. That is the setup, and that is what ITB could not shake, could not deal with last time. So having a look down the side, what have they got to deal with it? They've got 2 nades, they've got 4 nades, they've got a Thatcher.
Yes.
Now then, Thatcher's a good choice, because Thatcher could deal with that from the outside, potentially,
yes,
but only partially. Obviously can't do anything about the shield. That's just a shield. That's can stop the bulletproof working. But yes, it allows then the nade to come in because the ADSs will be stopped. So it's going to take a bit of coordination, though. That is definitely going to be a flashpoint to watch for this round.
Absolutely. For me, that's the kind of what this round spins on. If Wolves can hold on to that, then great. If ITB can break it, also great. But we haven't then seen what the layers of the onion that we were speaking about back on Clubhouse, or at least the desk were, especially Fabian. He's got clearly a very strange obsession with onions, that poor man. Once they start breaking through that first layer, which is Mowgli, then the second layer, which is the shield, what are the third and fourth layers? What else is in the mind of Wolves to keep ITB at bay?
Drone is going to be raining through. Manages to avoid that mute jammer, but won't be able to pass through the door again. Just another good way of stacking up that defense. You know, you can't have a look at it. You can't get a clear view of it because you can't get your drones in there to see what's going on. It's going to prevent the wall being opened.
Here we go.
Well. There you go. That was the EMP that they needed, but they need to push at this time whilst the ADSs are out of action. This is when they really need to deal with it. In comes the nade, clears out the ADSs, clears out the shield. ITB doing a much better job. Love to see this.
They had 2 drones on him there as well. They know that he's still there. And sure, they've broken the shield hole, which is what we wanted to see in the round, but the player's still there. They've still got someone playing on the south side. They're refilling up the defense here and reclaiming the ground with the help of Mowgli on that army. You've done the hard part, but now they've just kind of rebuilt it all again.
Well, the thing is, they've created themselves a little bit of a problem by solving that problem. Remember last time they had the Ossa to push behind to deal with Mowgli, but this time they don't have an Ossa because they've needed the Thatcher. So dealing with one problem has sort of left them with another, realistically. Mowgli's going to dip out of there. He's just going to loop the loop and head back out through the door and come back for some more.
You just can't get rid of him. It's so obnoxious to deal with. Like, you bolt and you're straight down the stairs, and now you've got to work your way up the stairs that's exposed. So the minute you get on that stairway, you are doomed if you dare get yourself too... Oh, he didn't know he was there. Never mind. Forget I said anything. Even the Fenrir couldn't slow him on down. ITB's march on forward, though, they have exploded, Tim. I really thought they'd get held back, but Deadshot is all that stands between them and a 6-4. Oh my God, 2 massive shots coming out. He's got to find a couple more, but Azza shuts him down. ITB, they move up to map point, Tim, 6-4. We could be going through to map 3 on Skyscraper.
We certainly could. Azza doing the business once again, showing that tech pause hasn't slowed him down, hasn't cooled him off at all. But I'll be honest, a surprising round win for ITB there for me, and I love it. The adaptation, like I said, they solved one problem, they caused themselves another. Wolves were a little bit unfortunate. You know, Mowgli was doing a great job there at the top of stairs, but just, I don't know, maybe the Fenrir gadget was positioned a little bit too high upstairs. I quite often prefer to see things lower down the stairs because it just gives that warning before. Yes, the gadget triggered and he moved around the corner, but the pre-fire was already coming in, and it's the same as goo mines. With those gadgets, once it's triggered, if you're the one that it's been triggered on, and we saw it with the flashbang earlier on Clubhouse where Kendrew got downed by Deadshot, it's when that happens, when that trigger comes, you sort of know somebody's going to push behind it. So for the attacker on stairs there, as soon as that gadget triggers, actually I'm going to pre-fire this corner because he's probably going to peek around when he hears that and he knows I'm on stairs. So for me, I think sometimes get it a little bit further down. It makes it just a little bit more difficult, you know, for them to engage so quickly off the back of it.
Alrighty, the Monty returns. No big surprises there. It's been so good for them when attacking onto these different sites, with the Lion in tow this time around as well. So really trying to, I suppose, rain on Wolves' day and make this one extra miserable. You could see them easily closing this one out, and Skyscraper, as we said, would then be awaiting as map number 3. Once again, Yunka making use of the ramp to get through this double doorway up towards the north side of the map and start their entry in towards the building. It's been quite a common entry point for them, but really gave them a lot to work through because they have Azza working out towards the garage side. They're opening up a bunch of the flooring once they get inside itself. They've obviously got themselves getting through the north side at the same time, so there's a lot that goes on in the ITB attack. And last time on this site, they'd done so much inside 70 seconds, and it feels like they're going for a similar thing yet again.
Couple of Selmas have been cleared off, but with Hibana on the board as well, if they really want to get that breach, it shouldn't be a major issue. The Ram is going to throw the gadget in through the window, just rip up the floor at the backside, help that push into Archives. Kendrew is going down there as well. Not too much of a presence this time from Wolves inside of Archives. They're not committed too heavily out there. They're going to largely give up a lot of that ground as half of the round has gone, and that's been burnt away, but still plenty of time for ITB here.
Absolutely tons, yeah. Half the round still to go. And it's wrong at the last second. Also, a passing exit out of the building and gets swung on as well. A little bit too confident there, Deadshot, that he wasn't going to get pushed. And I think as this sort of level of play, Tim, it's always expected that if there's a drone there, there is always going to be a player not too far behind.
Yeah, more than likely. You can't be giving away that kind of information and expecting nothing to come from the back of it. So this is ITB's opportunity, really, to take map 2. They're going to be clearing out the Kiba barricade as Kendrew continues his march forward. Needs to be careful. He's got one on either side of him. And if he exposes even a leg, a thigh, he's going to be in trouble. He doesn't know, but he gets away with it. What has just happened? Kendrew goes in, manages to hit one with the melee whilst not getting shot in the back. He's going to be planting as well now. Mowgli 1v4 and ITB surely lock this down. Yonka gets the final kill and we are going to map 3. We're going to Skyscraper.
P4 is an absolute bottle job. I'll just say it plain and simple. He could not have got that any more wrong. Doesn't save his teammate when the Monty comes pushing in. Swings onto the man behind Monty because last time he went to try and push onto the Monty, saw the player behind him, got killed by him on his way out of the room, and then completely misses that. Leaves his teammate to die. That could not have gone any worse for poor P4 in that moment. But really, it's all about ITB. They cracked the defenses wide open. It relied a lot on Monty, sure, but for me, that top floor attack where they showed the adaptation was absolutely pivotal, Tim.
It was, yeah, they dealt with that situation fantastically well. Definitely applaud